You know when you see something and it really sticks with you? I mean, you leave some performance or movie or whatever, and you notice yourself thinking a little more than you usually do. You're on the subway or in your car or whatever. You're on your way home and you realize my my brain is whirring right now. I've just been exposed to an idea that just connects with me and my purpose or whatever. Well, I hope you have. It's a great feeling. It feels like making progress. Like I've made it to my next life's challenge. And well, yes, that means that there is this challenge to come. Like, okay, I've got to figure out whatever this is. It also means I must have made it through and past the last one. I've climbed my way to the top of that hill. Through the thorny bushes and loose gravel, I've made it here, to the peak. And I only know that because look down. There's the subsequent valley, and all the way out there is the next peak. My next challenge. My sign of growth. And yes, I don't really get a break. I'm going to have to start this descent now, and it'll be hard, but I made it past this one. I made it past this one. You're listening to 89.1 FM. This is the WNYU podcast, Bare Your Soul. Every week we ask someone to do just that. Put it all out there. We hear vulnerable stories from all walks of life. I'm your host, Julien Collet. And today I will be that someone. You'll be hearing from me and me only. Call it a monologue. Stay with us. The thing I saw, the thing that led to all that thinking, was the movie We Live in Time. I will most certainly be spoiling major plot points of that movie today, so bear that in mind. It's a romantic drama starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. For those who need more than just an actor's name, that's the guy who played in the second set of Spider-Man movies and Hacksaw Ridge and The Social Network, and Florence Pugh is the woman in Midsommar, Little Woman, and in that freaky but sexy movie with Harry Styles. They are both phenomenal actors, and that along with my very, very straight male interest in romance movies drew me in. And as movie trailers do in the mind of a frugal 22-year-old, the idea of watching this movie someday, when it was free, hung in the back of my mind. Until a few weeks ago, when the perfect and most apt circumstances to watch this tragic and romantic story unfold struck up in me the inspiration to do just that. I was walking down the street, looking down at my phone, heading towards the gym. And the thought occurred to me, I don't really feel like going to the gym. So I did, as I often do. I opened up Safari and navigated to a magic land where the movies are free and ethically problematic. And I thought, I need a movie that'll really get me going, just hammering it on that treadmill. Oh, yeah, let's watch an unbelievably endearing meet-cute and subsequent falling in love get hit by the brutal despair of an ovarian cancer diagnosis. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I don't really know what was going on. But I'll tell you, I have no regrets. Like I said at the top of this piece, it just stuck with me, got me thinking. So, enough prefacing. What did it get me thinking about? Okay, So the movie has this really interesting format where it jumps forwards and backwards in time in the lives and relationship of these two characters, hence the title, We Live in Time. So you might have a scene of them all over each other in love, followed by another of just Florence Pugh going for a run before they've even met. So try your best not to worry too much about chronology. Just follow along with these ideas. I'll be referring to them as Florence and Andrew, not their characters' names, so keep that in mind as well. All right, the part that really got me thinking is this. It's early days for their relationship. The two of them are hanging out at Florence's house. We're about a third of the way into the movie. They're talking about their past relationships. Andrew has just gotten divorced. It was messy and hard. He's telling her about the things that didn't work, the things that tore them apart. Andrew wanted to prioritize family and have kids. His wife wanted to prioritize her work and accepted a job in Sweden, which he described as great for her. They tried it. He held on until she gave up on them. One difference, just one, in a major life desire, and the whole marriage. So, he tells her this, and it's Florence's turn. Her boyfriend wanted them to start thinking about a family. But she says, I guess there's a world where kids aren't really my thing. Now, we don't get to see much of Andrew's reaction here, and we haven't really had enough time to fully consider what this means for them, but the filmmaker will do this for us. After a few cuts, we're back at Florence's apartment, weeks later, and Andrew has something he wants to talk to her about. He says, you said something to me a couple weeks ago. You said kids aren't really your thing. That's fine. I mean, no, of course it is. Just truthfully, kids kind of might be, maybe, or are my thing. Followed by some rambling about the clock ticking at their age, and Florence responds, I'm sorry, but what the actual word I can't say on the radio are you even talking about right now? She blows up on him. And I think this argument that they have is fascinating. Andrew is trying to prepare for the future. He's looking back at what happened to his past relationship, and he's trying to make sure that that doesn't happen again. He's afraid. And as he'll come to tell us, tell Florence, he's worried that there's a very distinct and real possibility that he's about to fall in love with her. And he thinks, if I don't take care of everything now, if I don't clear up all of the loose ends, then this love will turn out like the last one did. And this represents a very logical kind of decision-making. Here's what happened last time. Here's the signs that it will happen again. Let me then take steps to prevent that. And Florence is thinking, dude, we met weeks ago. What are you doing bringing up kids right now? Like, calm down, which is also a very reasonable response. But I'll tell you, it's not the response that I would have had. I'm like Andrew. I like to prepare. I like to calculate for the most probable outcome and adjust my decisions to make that outcome reflect my desire. And I believe that if I am thorough enough, that I can make my life what I hope it to be. Everything is math, so if I calculate for every variable, then I can solve for the statistically greatest future. Sounds pretty great. Mostly it is. It's comforting, gives me a sense of control. It fuels my ego, which is good, feels good to me. But it's also flawed in a major way. Have you figured out what it is yet? I can't tell the future. Yeah, we don't know. We think we know, and then it's proven that we don't. I've done this many times with my girlfriend, and this film helped me notice. I went to check in about some major life desire, so we'd be talking about kids, and it would be normal, natural, but there were some questions that I was listening intently to the answer to. Did she want kids? How many? Making sure at each step along the way that her major life desires lined up with my major life desires. And that's exactly what's happening with Andrew here. He's making sure. He says in the film, "It would seem to me preferable to have a moderately awkward conversation right now rather than a completely destructive one in 5 to 10 years' time." To Andrew and to me, it's like, we're going to have to figure this out eventually. Why not do it right now, before this goes too far, before the commitment that we've been making to this relationship is wasted, because all along this schism was bound to destroy us. If we establish right now all of our differences, all of the major life desires that we don't have in common, then we can decide before we're in too deep whether we are willing to make those sacrifices or not. But the film denies this philosophy. Florence blows up on Andrew for thinking this way, and Andrew storms out, feeling misunderstood. And after some scenes of them together and happy, remember, they are unchronological, we are back to the next moment in the story. Andrew is back, probably days later, and on a mission to make it up to Florence. He finds her at a party and apologizes with the wisdom that he has found in their time apart. The wisdom that the film hopes to impart onto us. The thing that left me thinking. The title of the film. We live in time. We can try our best to predict and prepare for what's to come, but we will never know. Time will change us, will throw some new impossible trouble or joy into our lives. In the film, Florence gets hit with an ovarian cancer diagnosis. Her dreams of competing as a chef in the Bocuse d'Or and living this very active life are thrown for a loop. She has to reckon with the possibility that her life may not last much longer, and decide on the uncertainty of chemo and whether to have, in her words, 6, word I can't say on the radio, amazing, fantastic, proactive months, or 12 really, word I definitely can't say, passive ones. It's an impossible choice which completely uproots her life and the expectations she had for her future. But that's reality. And when Andrew finds her at this party and apologizes, he tells her, "I was guilty of focusing on the wrong thing, looking ahead instead of right in front of me at you." They get back together, get married, and Florence eventually changes her mind, decides she does want kids. That was always an option. People just change their minds. As much as I want to ask my girlfriend about everything, tie up every loose end, prepare perfectly for our future, and make sure that she's really the one, she or I might just change our minds. We just can't know what's to come. And in that process of trying to prepare, I'm making a critical mistake and looking ahead instead of right in front of me at her. But this goes beyond my girlfriend, as all good philosophies do. It's about, in all aspects of your life, breaking free from hesitation and calculation and being brave enough for action. I've always resonated really deeply with the character Aaron Burr from the musical Hamilton. He has this incredible song called Wait for It, where he laments about how his strategy in life and politics of being careful and how it seems to be paling in comparison to that of Hamilton, who doesn't hesitate and keeps winning anyway. He tries to paint a difference in the song between what he's not doing, falling behind, running late, standing still. Instead, he frames it as lying in wait. But I'm not so sure that those are as different as he'd like them to be. Waiting is safe, and Burr is afraid. So are we all. Well, most of us. And the sacrifice we make when we wait is that we spend more time to get to where we're going. And if the film tells us anything, it's that we do not know how much time we have. So stop pretending like we do. Now, implementing this philosophy is not so easy. I find myself reasoning with it and pretty quickly running into problems. So let's say I'm in a relationship and my girlfriend and I are talking about religion and what we expect of our children's education. And let's say I want fervently to raise my child Jewish and my girlfriend wants just as fervently to raise them Catholic. So the philosophy would seem to say, hold your horses. Let's figure this out when the time comes. Maybe someone changes their mind. Maybe who knows what. But then, okay, what happens when we do stay together and then have our first child? What then? Well, here's where I wade into uncomfortable territory for me and any others who like calculating their life through tangible factors. The philosophy comes in two parts. There's the stop looking into the future part, but there's also the look right ahead in front of you part. Now, what I interpret this to mean is to tune into your desires, your intuition, whatever your heart is telling you. It's corny. It's ethereal. But it's real. It is. There's a really deep sense of satisfaction that can be found by, essentially doing what you want. Now, this is not to say that this doesn't also come with consequences. Sometimes the things we want and the risks we take to get them catch up to us. Florence ignores the guidance of her doctor and pushes herself through the competition and dies from ovarian cancer. In the musical, Hamilton dies very young. He's killed by Aaron Burr, who got tired of waiting and was devastated the moment he acted. It goes both ways. Maybe they should have waited a bit more. We don't know. We can't. So embrace that. And in the meantime, screw it, let's be corny. In the meantime, bare your soul. That was episode 5 of Bare Your Soul. I'm your host, Julien Collet. I hope you enjoyed. If you're listening out there, if you're tuned in to 89.1, I want you to do something for me right now. Text me. Get your phone out and I'll give you the number. I need to learn from what people make of me and my guests and our truths, so please, all strangers welcome. The number is 310-951-3234. That's 310-951-3234. I'm serious. Do something you normally wouldn't and text a stranger. You won't regret it. 310-951-3234. Thanks.